All right, we'll go ahead and get started. It's 9 o'clock right on the nose. Good morning, everyone. Let's call to order our Jefferson County Board of County Commissioners meeting for April 1st, 2025. It's good to see everyone and welcome. I'm Jefferson County Commissioner Leslie Dahlkemper here with Commissioner Zenzinger and Commissioner Kerr. Our clerk this morning is Elaine Blomquist and our host is Katie LaLiberte. And Ms. LaLiberte will handle requests for public comment and public testimony sign up in the chat for those of you who are joining us virtually this morning. There are several ways to join our hybrid meeting, all of which are listed on our website at jeffco.us. You are always welcome to reach out to the board on the county's website at jeffco.us, or you can email us at commish@jeffco.us. We'd also like to ask everyone to please go ahead and silence your phones and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Yeah. Good morning again. We want to thank everyone for joining us in person and those of you who are joining us online for this morning's hearing. We're very excited to be joined by a tremendous team here from Jeffco, the Jeffco Sheriff's Office. Thank you so much for being present. Today's proclamation is intended to raise awareness about the Autism Spectrum Disorder, or ASD, and to promote understanding and advocate for individuals with autism in our community. ASD is called a spectrum because it varies widely in strengths, challenges, and experiences. No two autistic individuals are exactly alike. Autism is a neurodevelopmental disorder that affects communication, social interaction, and repetitive behaviors. And according to the CDC, about 1 in 36 children in the United States is diagnosed with autism, reflecting its prevalence across all communities. Next, I'll turn it over to Commissioner Zenzinger.
Good morning. Autism impacts people of all races, ethnicities, and socioeconomic backgrounds and is the fastest growing developmental disorder. There are many myths associated with autism, one of which is that autistic people lack empathy. In reality, many autistic individuals feel deep empathy, but may express it differently. Autistic individuals often have unique talents as well, like exceptional memory or creativity or problem-solving skills that enrich our world. Awareness is just the start. Acceptance is the goal. Let's move beyond tolerance to truly valuing autistic perspectives. Before Commissioner Kerr reads the proclamation, I would like to welcome Sheriff Marinelli to say a few words about the new Blue Envelope program.
Thank you. You're going to hear a lot of the same stuff that was written in the proclamation, which I didn't know was in there. When I prepared,
You guessed me.
when I prepared what I was getting ready to say today. But good morning and thank you to the commissioners for this proclamation. We appreciate your outstanding support of this very worthy cause. I would also like to say thank you to my staff, especially the Public Affairs Director, Mark Techmeyer, and Research and Development Commander, Mike Prang. These two men took a request of mine and turned it into what we have in front of us today, and I am grateful to have them working on behalf of the citizens of Jefferson County. During this month of autism awareness, I want us to remember that autism is a spectrum. It is the difference between one person and another. Individuals on the spectrum have unique strengths and challenges. This topic deserves understanding and acceptance, and it is our goal to empower autistic individuals to thrive and reach their full potential. We are all created to be unique. It is okay to be different, and we must celebrate that. Autism is a neurological condition that manifests during early childhood. It does not discriminate. You will find it amongst every gender, race, socioeconomic status, and individuals that are on the spectrum have unique talents and perspectives. They have strengths and abilities, but at times they also have challenges. My staff are taught to treat all individuals with dignity and respect. The other day, as I was reading a post on Nextdoor about our Blue Envelope program, a gentleman remarked, "Why not use this approach with everyone?" Another person responded, if I may, "It's more nuanced than that. Some individuals with autism can behave and speak in a manner completely opposite of their usual demeanor in a fight or flight situation." Now, I will be the first to admit, nobody ever wants to meet a law enforcement officer, especially when you're not expecting it. People love us. They just don't want to have a visit from us. As the person wrote on, some cannot speak at all, or they regress to the age of a small child, and some may act in ways that hurt themselves or others, even if never having reacted that way before. Medications change. The anxiety can cause chemistry in one's body to change, producing behaviors never experienced before. If there is no advocate on scene to assist with the communication of the person, to advise of their history, their triggers, what calms them down, what amps them up, you could have an incident or escalation of some type with any person. As the person on Nextdoor stated, the officer can only react to the information they have at the time. That is where our Blue Envelope program comes in. The Sheriff's Office is the host office for the Jefferson County Blue Envelope program. This program started in 2020 in Connecticut and has spread to several more states. Our program is the first countywide program in Colorado. Those with the Blue Envelope can hold vehicle registration, proof of insurance inside, or any other information they would like to share with a first responder. The envelope has information on the front and the back for the holder and for the first responder to provide information to enhance communication. One of the keys to this program are the identifying items we are providing at no cost as an easy way to be identified by first responders as someone with potential communication challenges. We have items to hand out such as bracelets, buttons to put on your backpack, stickers to put either on your car or your front door, keychains, things that go across your seatbelt so that there's immediate identification that there could be a communication challenge when contacting that particular person. All of these items have either the words Blue Envelope or a tiny logo of a blue envelope on them. When a first responder sees the identifying item before contacting an individual, it provides a notice that this encounter could require a different approach or more patience and understanding. Autism is the reason this program started, but there are many other things such as dementia that this can be used for, because there are still people that are driving or coming in contact with us out on the street that have those early onset, whether it be dementia, the autism, any of that stuff. So this is not a one situation envelope. It can be used on many different avenues. These items, along with the Blue Envelope, are available at the Sheriff's Office headquarters as well as our South and Mountain precincts. And here's the collaboration. We have 15 different agencies and organizations throughout Jeffco that have joined us as partners and are providing an additional 27 locations that citizens can pick up all of these items. Wherever you live in Jefferson County, there is a location that we've made convenient for you. All that information is available on the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office website. It is a common understanding that autistic individuals experience a heightened sensitivity to sensory stimuli such as bright colors, lights, or loud noises. I just pretty much described our patrol cars in the most unpopular manner I could without mentioning them. Let me say this part again. It is a common understanding that autistic individuals experience a heightened sensitivity to sensory stimuli such as bright colors, lights, or loud noises. My goal is that my staff will be able to have early detection of a person that they are about to contact who may have these unique differences, and we can alter our skills to match the situation before it becomes uncomfortable. Along with this proclamation, we are authorizing all Sheriff's Office employees a National Recognition Autism Awareness lapel pin to wear for the month of April. I have a few extra with me if you would like to join us. We can hand those out. And so with that, again, very proud moment for the Sheriff's Office to be able to put this forward as the first county sheriff's office in Colorado. We've already talked to many other counties that we have provided the information to them. We are hoping that Colorado would be the first statewide that takes this on, but that's a little bit of work and we're working on it. So thank you.
Good morning, and thank you, Sheriff Marinelli. Are there any, the show Survivor, are there any Survivor fans in the crowd? If you're not watching this season of Survivor, you really should go back and watch at least last week's episode. There's an individual experiencing autism that's on the show, and they handle it in an extremely informative and humane way, in a particular way. So not to be a commercial for CBS, but please take a moment to check that out. So now the proclamation. Whereas Jefferson County is dedicated to fostering a community built on understanding, inclusion, and respect for all individuals, including those with autism spectrum disorder and other conditions requiring additional awareness and accommodations. And whereas the month of April is internationally recognized as Autism Awareness Month, providing an opportunity to educate the public, promote acceptance, and support individuals and families affected by autism. And whereas autism is often accompanied by medical conditions that impact quality of life and can cause challenges with verbal and nonverbal communication, social interaction, and repetitive behaviors, and can affect anyone, regardless of race, ethnicity, gender, or socioeconomic background. And whereas in furtherance of this commitment, the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office is proud to introduce the Blue Envelope Program, a proactive initiative designed to improve interactions between law enforcement officers and community members. And whereas this voluntary initiative ensures accessibility and privacy for participants, the success of the Blue Envelope Program relies on collaboration among first responder agencies, community organizations, and service providers. And, period. Whereas we call upon residents, businesses, and organizations to promote inclusivity, acceptance, and meaningful engagement for individuals with autism and other communication challenges. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Jefferson County Board of Commissioners of the state of Colorado that April 2025 be declared as Blue Envelope Autism Awareness Month in this county.
Also, we'd love to invite all the members of the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office to please come forward, join us for a group picture. Thanks again to the Sheriff's Office and Sheriff Marinelli for joining us this morning to recognize Autism Awareness Month and to share more with us about this very exciting Blue Envelope program. We're so proud, thanks to the Sheriff's leadership and her team, that Jefferson County is the first county in the state to implement the program. Thanks again, Sheriff. Next on our agenda is public comment. The board will take up to 15 minutes at the beginning of the meeting, and if needed, additional public comment toward the end of the meeting on items that are not listed on the agenda. We'll begin with those who have signed up for public comment, and then we'll move to those of you who are joining us virtually. Please be sure to put your name, your topic in the chat function, and please use a computer as well to log in to today's meeting if you would like to speak during public comment virtually. First up, we have Christine Contramotos here to speak to us about Jeffco Public Library. Welcome, and if you would share with us your address, you have 3 minutes.
Good morning. My name's Christine Contramatis, and I live in Lakewood. And I'm delighted I'm here this morning because I work for Jefferson County Public Library, which has been giving out blue envelopes all week long and blue swag till we're, forgive the pun, blue in the face. I'm so delighted you're here. So please thank your staff for me. Sorry, I got emotional. And we'll take some of these pins at the library too. So I've been working at the library for over 14 years because I love this job, and this is why. We, the library workers, appreciate the commissioner's support of public libraries. We also appreciate your continued support of our union, AFSCME union, especially now as an executive order has just stripped the collective bargaining rights from nearly 1 million federal workers, and thousands of those workers are AFSCME brothers and sisters. They're AFSCME members. Your support is so critical right now as we're currently negotiating our first contract with the library's administration. This executive order makes finishing our negotiations as soon as possible so important. We workers cannot afford to wait for decent salaries due to the unnecessary delay tactics of admin and their chief negotiator, especially now that we workers have learned of yet another reorganization of the library's administrative titles and more big new raises along with those new titles. So maybe at next week, when you show your appreciation for library workers by proclaiming National Library Week in Jefferson County, just maybe you'll have some answers for us because we will be here. And maybe you can tell us why the executive director's salary has nearly doubled. Her whole package is over $500,000 and we're struggling. I work 2 jobs just to make ends meet. And shouldn't one job be enough? Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Ms. Contramatis, for being with us this morning. I'm going to see if we have anyone else in the hearing room who'd like to speak during public comment. And we have no other folks who'd like to address the board at this time. And do we have anyone joining us online?
We have 3 folks online. First one is Josh Schlossberg. I'm going to unmute him right now.
All right, thanks so much. Mr. Schlossberg, if you would please share your address with us, and you'll have 3 minutes. just checking to see, do we have Mr. Schlossberg with us, or are we having technical difficulties at this time?
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, we can hear you now. It's a little quiet, but if you would repeat your name and your address for us?
Josh Schlossberg. I'm currently living in Jefferson County. You can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Okay. Fact number one, Jefferson County, along with Boulder County and City of Boulder, paid for a 2022 study which concluded that forests, quote, thinned prior to the 2020 Calwood fire burned just as intensely as uncut forests and ultimately released more carbon into the atmosphere. The study, quote, fuels treatment and their impact on carbon stocks and fire severity in Boulder and Jefferson counties in the City of Boulder by climate scientist Brian Bouma, PhD, Aaron Twaddle from University of Colorado, and research scientist Anthony Vorster from Colorado State University, found in forest plots previously, quote, thinned in the name of wildfire mitigation, a, quote, lack of clear effectiveness of the treatments in increasing surviving live biomass when exposed to a wildfire. Study authors theorized that, quote, partially the high ground fuel loads and decreased tree density led to increased fire intensity as a result of easier wind movement, an unintended consequence seen in the 2010 4 Mile fire as well. Yet Jefferson County didn't just ignore the findings of this study, it didn't even mention the existence of the study it funded in its dozens of references in its Community Wildfire Protection Plan currently up on the Jefferson County website. This joins the several hundred peer-reviewed studies by hundreds of scientists that contest the, quote, fuel reduction narrative, which Jefferson County also disregards. Fact number two, Jefferson County Open Space is cutting down old growth trees, meeting even the standard of the U.S. Forest Service for old growth ponderosa pine, which is over 200 years old with thick bark. Not only have I taken photos of these trees and counted the rings by hand, up to 211, and measured the thickness of the bark up to 8 inches thick, one of the many old growth trees cut by the county was on the front page of the Denver Post in late 2024 in a photograph taken by a Denver Post photographer. Yet Leslie Dahlkemper has falsely claimed at a public meeting that the county was not cutting old growth trees. Just a couple of months ago, Andy Kerr falsely told a citizen that the county was not cutting old growth trees, and Jefferson County Open Space, headed by Director Tom Hobie, falsely claims on its website that it is not cutting old growth trees. These facts make it clear that if Jefferson County believes in science and participatory democracy, and wishes to maintain credibility in the eyes of the public, given that the majority of park users have concerns about this cutting, it must enact a temporary moratorium on all, quote, fuel reduction in the park until the full body of science and public opinion is incorporated into the decision-making, especially its own studies that it funds for this exact purpose. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mr. Schlossberg. Next, we have Carolyn Farbman. Ms. Farbman, if you would share your address with us, and you've got 3 minutes.
Holding an executive session to discuss the request from the Save Our Skies Alliance. At last night's Westminster City Council meeting, the council unanimously agreed to send a letter to the BCC urging you to, quote, consider the SOS requests and carefully evaluate how best to mitigate the issues identified to the maximum extent of your authority. I am so thankful to the council for their support of the actions outlined in the SOS letter. SOS sent the BCC a 2.5-page letter yesterday to reiterate the actions being requested ahead of the executive session and the key points that should be addressed when consulting legal counsel regarding the feasibility of taking these actions. After the session, SOS requests a public briefing where the BCC members can discuss each of the 4 actions, followed by a public hearing in which each action is put to a vote. We request full transparency on your position regarding these actions and the reasoning behind them. This is a reasonable expectation for a Democratic Party that represents all of Jefferson County, not just the airport. Today's briefing on the reinforced soil slope stabilization highlights exactly why landing fees, one of SOS's solutions, are necessary. These fees could help fund repairs for a failing slope within the runway protection zone, a critical risk area. The FAA defines this zone as essential for protecting people and property on the ground. Yet despite being designated a high priority hazard in 2021, the issue remains unaddressed because airport staff have been unable to secure grant funding. The over-reliance on grant funding is unsustainable. The airport has stated that if grants remain unavailable, they will fund the repairs from the airport fund at the cost of reducing other airfield maintenance critical to aircraft safety. I am deeply concerned that protecting people and property has been delayed simply due to funding gaps. Our understanding is that the BCC can implement landing fees, which would provide a stable funding source, reducing reliance on grants and ensuring urgent safety risks, like this one, are addressed. Think about the recent plane crash at RMMA, noted in the Denver Post in February of this year, when a training plane encountered a gust of wind while doing a touch and go and veered off the runway. Additionally, we understand the BCC has the authority to eliminate the sale of leaded fuel once an unleaded alternative is selected that meets the requirements of Section 770 of the FAA Reauthorization Act. Currently, GAMI 100 UL appears to meet those. Under HB 24-1235, our understanding is the voluntary noise abatement plan is voluntary and does not require FAA approval. The BCC can strengthen it, adding a provision to avoid all repetitive training operations except in emergencies at the airport. Finally, we believe the BCC has the authority to pause the taxiway project and request a full FAA environmental assessment. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Ms. Farbman. Next, we have Mike Rawlick. Mr. Rawlick, would you please share your address with us? And you have 3 minutes. Thanks for being here.
West 59 Drive, Golden, Colorado 80403. And I also want to talk about forests and the forest management from a little bit more broad-based perspective than Josh. I do not have his technical prowess. However, when I did some core requests that I looked at regarding forest management, there are numerous references to restoring forests to the levels of the 1930s. I find this to be problematic in a myriad of ways. First of all, this was the height of the Great Depression. At that time, people were not concerned about anything but survival. So to think about people, and and some of my family was here since the 1850s through marriage. They thought about survival first. They weren't thinking about forest management and stewardship. So it's kind of a loaded statistic to think of it then. And more specifically, the Secretary of Agriculture in 1933 wrote a national plan for American forestry and discussed over 50 million acres that had been depleted at this time. And there was erosion problems, there was sediment control problems, there was flooding. And so in the 1930s, there was a plan to actually increase the amount of forest, not to keep it as a status quo. So to think about forest management using a benchmark from the 1930s is most likely folly, and I would love to share that document with you all. Also, some of the grants, as we were talking about old growth forest, some of the grants that we've seen for the, let's see, the 2023 Alder North FRWRM project, they actually had a prescription from the state to the county to say that prescription would be remove 90 to 100% of conifer seedlings, which I understand you want to get rid of the understory, but remove 70% of ponderosa with a diameter of under 22 inches, which is a far range of age. As Josh had pointed out, something 2 inches versus 22 inches could be the swing of 200 years possibly. Selectively thin ponderosa greater than 22 inches diameter, 90 to 100% dug fir less than 22 inches would be removed unless they show significant wildlife value. And the concern here is, again, in those core requests, we asked for codex reports from the Colorado Natural Heritage Program and found that there were none. And we also asked for emails back and forth from maybe the CPW wildlife professionals. And again, unfortunately, didn't see any. So when you look at this situation, there's a fair bit of large old growth trees. Now, when we look at what's going to happen in Beaver Ranch Park, I would just ask that we also look at the plans for this summer, and if it's the right time of year, because it's a bald eagle summer forage range and a golden eagle breeding range. And I don't know if the county has really reached out to all the area residents, and if they've reached out to the businesses and tourism in the area as well. That might be affected.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you for
Rawlick. Would you like to just sum up in one sentence?
have
I
the
would love
time.
to. The county commissioners and the county in general has a great practice of sending out postcards to area residents and area businesses, and also reaching out to HOAs. I would ask that maybe this could happen before the logging happens in Beaver Ranch, and just a little bit more science behind it as well, and wind studies. Thank you.
Thanks. And Mr. Rollick, if we haven't lost you yet, would you please repeat your address? We heard the second part of it, but not the full address.
Sure. It's 18735 West 59th Drive, Golden, Colorado 80403.
Great. Thanks so much. And thanks for your comments this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you. I understand we have no one else online who would like to comment during this period of public comment, and no one else in the hearing room. So we'll close this period. We have another opportunity for those who have not had an opportunity to speak during public comment at the end of our meeting. Next, we have the approval of the minutes dated March 25th, 2025. May I have a motion to approve?
I move for the approval of the minutes of March 25th, 2025.
Second.
Ms. Blumquist, would you please call the vote?
Commissioner Kerr?
Aye.
Commissioner Zenzinger?
Aye.
Commissioner Dahlkemper?
Yes, and that motion passes and the minutes are approved. We're going to move next to our consent agenda. And just a quick note to share, at our last hearing on March 25th, we removed consent agenda item 7.8 listed as resolution CC 25-079 and continued it until today. However, since that time, staff has requested that this item be pulled from consideration, and as chair, I agree to do so. It will not be presented to the board for action today. However, we do have 4 items on the consent agenda, and commissioners, would either of you like to take an item off the consent agenda?
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Great. May I have a motion to approve items 7.1 through 7.4?
I move for the approval of consent agenda items 7.1 through 7.4.
Second.
Thank you. Ms. Blumquist, would you please call the vote?
Commissioner Kerr?
Aye.
Commissioner Zenzinger?
Aye.
Commissioner Dahlkemper?
Yes, and that motion passes. We have no agenda items on our regular agenda. Next is the hearing consent portion of our meeting, and we have no items on the hearing consent agenda, nor do we have items on the hearing regular agenda. So we now circle back to our second segment of public comment. I'll check to see if we have anyone joining us online for public comment.
No one online.
Terrific. I don't think we have anyone new in the hearing room, but I'll just double check. All right, and no one in the hearing room. Public comment is closed. Next, we have reports. Commissioners, will move next to reports, and I will start with Commissioner Zenzinger.
Thank you so much. Just a couple of things. First, I'm very pleased to announce that the Jefferson Center for Mental Health has selected their next CEO, their newest CEO, to replace Kara Kunzler. The woman who was offered the position, her name is Sarah Almquist, and I'm very excited and pleased to be able to welcome her to the helm. I don't know when her start date will be, but I believe it'll be May. Based on when Director Kunzler will be leaving. So very excited about that process, and I just want to extend my gratitude to the board chair and all of the board members that were a part of the process in selecting the new director. We have a lot of challenges in the mental health and substance abuse field right now. And so I'm really excited that we're going to be able to embrace some change and figure out the best pathway forward. Secondly, I did attend our metro area county commissioners meeting, and we had a very robust discussion about some homeless initiatives. We received a presentation from Denver as well as from Douglas County about some of their initiatives where we were able to compare notes. But I was more excited about the Douglas County presentation that they made regarding a program called HeliTAC, which is their helicopter program for fighting fire. And it was really interesting to listen to the program about Helitack. So I would be interested in knowing whether or not Jefferson County has explored this issue and what our findings are. But it was a great presentation. Also, I just wanted to extend my gratitude to Chief Judge Pilkington. We had an opportunity to meet last week to talk a little bit about the court side of things, and I'm just very appreciative of his mentorship and the fact that he extended such a warm welcome to me and really kind of talked me through some of the structures and opportunities and challenges of the court side of things. So just want to thank him. I also want to thank the constituents that showed up to our town hall on Saturday. This was a District 1 Arvada town hall hosted by Councilor Randy Moorman of the Arvada City Councilor, and had an opportunity to listen to lots of different announcements and issues across different levels of government, including local, county, and state. So I just want to extend my appreciation to Councilor Moorman for including me and to the citizens for being there. And then lastly, I had an opportunity to tour an organization and the site. It's actually a school for Firefly Autism last week. Firefly is an organization based right here in Jefferson County, and they are an organization that works on providing behavioral and mental health and education services for people with autism. And they work with individuals from 18 months to over 70 years of age. They do have approximately 45 to 50 students on site, but then they offer services throughout the county. They were very excited about the Blue Envelope program and offered to be one of the sites to distribute those envelopes. It was truly amazing going from classroom to classroom and observing the one-on-one individualized attention. Also, they have adopted a very person-centered approach using applied behavioral analysis, also known as ABA therapy, which is a therapy that the state of Colorado just started offering Medicaid for. So prior to this, it was only a private pay service. And we all know that these types of therapies are what give people with autism the best opportunity to thrive in our community. And so it was just a really incredible organization. And I just want to thank the director for giving me that tour and for giving me an opportunity to see the good work of how the autism spectrum and their families and our community is embracing access and supports for individuals with autism.
Thanks so much, Commissioner Zenzinger, and we are always grateful for Douglas County's work with their special helicopter for wildfires, and I think that we have received support from them in the past. In Jefferson County, we're especially proud to house the state's Firehawk helicopter, which is at Rocky Mountain Metro Airport. And it is a retrofitted Black Hawk helicopter, especially made to fight wildfires. So super, super exciting. Thank you so much for that great report. And loved your point too about the town hall and all multiple levels of government being engaged and elected leaders from Arvada as well. Commissioner Kerr.
Great, thank you. A new group that I met with and looking forward to getting some good work done around water quality is the Sloan's Lake Watershed Alliance. And this is a group of folks who live around Sloan's Lake and are impacted by the water quality in that area, and looking at ways of improving the water quality, but also the entire experience of the Sloan's Lake Park area. With Jefferson County bordering right on Sheridan there, certainly many of our residents enjoy that area, and looking forward to working together to move that ahead. Showing, speaking of collaboration, that's an example of Jefferson County and Denver County / Denver, the city of Denver, working together as we've continued to work together on some ideas around piloting some transit to Red Rocks and surrounding Jefferson County and Denver mountain parks, as well as other amenities such as Dinosaur Ridge, the town of Morrison in the Red Rocks area. So continuing to work with them on that. I was teased. I said I spent a couple of hours watching the Quarry Fire helicopter yesterday afternoon. And when I told my brother, he teased me. It's like, well, on your video, it looks like it's pretty monotonous, just back and forth, back and forth. It was incredible watching this helicopter work with reseeding, putting down the hay as well as a hydrophonic mulch, I think they call it. So 3 different steps in there, but just amazing. And if you have not gone to see the burn scars, and we'll call them scars, usually the word scars is a pretty negative connotation, and it is. You can see exactly where the fire and where the vegetation was burned, and it's black, but also surrounding areas where the vegetation has died from the heat and is brown, but also areas just interspersed within the fire area that is still green. And it's just amazing to watch the helicopter at work. It's like all of those things you see. It's very satisfying to watch. As we were discussing with Tom Hobie, our director of open spaces, it's just satisfying to see the work actually done in the hay dropped onto the area where the seeds have already been planted, and you can see the hay, which will then help stabilize the soil as moisture comes in and helps to replenish the area. One thing I definitely want to point out in comment to some of our comments we had earlier, but as is absolutely critical here in the Front Range when we talk about wildfire resiliency, is that fire has always been an incredibly important part of the ecology and the ecosystem here in the Front Range. It is now, and it will always be an important part. And part of the wildfire resiliency that we work on in our open space and throughout Jefferson County and throughout Colorado is so that we can get to a point where we can partner with fire in a safe and effective and ecologically scientific way moving forward. And that's an important part of everything that we do here around wildfire resiliency. Speaking of, and I'm sure there will be more details on this, but we will have a Foothills Town Hall meeting this Saturday, 9:15 to 10:45 at Evergreen Library, focused on wildfire resiliency and homeowners insurance. One last thing, I just would like to remind folks that as it is now April, spring break is over. It is prom season for many of our high schoolers, which means also after proms, graduations, spring sports happening, lots of young people out there moving around, being active, having opportunities to do things. And so let's all be careful out there as we are driving around. Let's make sure that everyone arrives alive. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Commissioner Kerr. And just to pick up on the restoration project at Deer Creek Canyon Park, I agree with Commissioner Kerr. It was incredible to see more than or about 8,000 pounds of seed dropped in this particular area, and that was about over a 2.5 hour period of time. And what was especially interesting, this is a cool fact, is that Jeffco Open Space had gathered seeds from our area parks, and then they sent those seeds to Washington. Washington grew more seeds and then was able to ship them back. So we had a good amount, a high quality and quantity number of seeds to help restore that hillside. And you heard Commissioner Kerr talk about erosion, and the whole point of that project is to ensure that more sediment doesn't run down that hillside into the creek just below it. Keeping our watersheds clear of sediment is critical as we look at the major drinking water resources that the county provides, as well as outdoor recreation as well. So it was tremendous, and just a huge thanks to the Jeffco Open Space team for their great work on this front. We really appreciate all that you do. Also, getting back to that April 5th town hall at Evergreen Library at 9:15, we wanted to mention that it will feature specifically the Colorado Insurance Commissioner, Michael Conway. One of the concerns we're hearing a lot from our constituents is the increased price of homeowners insurance. And in some cases, it's unattainable for constituents who live in high wildfire risk areas. So we'll hear directly from him. And then we're also excited to have our fire management officer, Brian Keating, talk more about the work the sheriff's office is doing as we look at wildfire strategies moving forward. So that'll be a good conversation. We also will be holding so please save the date, on May 8th, our virtual Board of County Commissioners Town Hall. That'll be from 6 to 7, again, May 8th, 6 to 7. Board of County Commissioners Town Hall, and we're going to focus on next steps related to 1A. We'll also be talking about wildfire preparation and mitigation, and we'll talk more about the impact of the federal executive orders and what those orders may mean for Jefferson County. I would also like to point out I am wearing University of Denver colors today in my jacket. We are so excited about DU, Go Pios, going on to the Frozen Four. They're going to have a rematch with Western Michigan, and really looking forward to that. And then if they go on to win that one, we are hoping that they will then score their third championship, national championship, in 4 years. So go DU, just a little shout out to the home team. And I'll go next to our county manager.
Good morning, Commissioners. Just a quick reminder that we have our cybersecurity tabletop exercise later in the week. And so I'm excited to participate in that. And that's an ongoing challenge for many municipalities and obviously private industry. So glad that we're spending time practicing our responses to cybersecurity incidences. Also, I did want to underscore what Commissioner Kerr shared earlier regarding Survivor. And he said he wasn't going to be a commercial this morning, but I will. And that's a show that my wife and I are avid fans of. And I will tell you, just over the course of the last 3 to 4 weeks, because of that show, my understanding of autism has really grown. And so it's just, even if you don't like Survivor, it's got a great real life message that I so appreciate.
Survivor.
What's but anyway, I just admire what the sheriff's office is doing, and I think it's an important initiative. And I've learned a lot just through a TV show about autism. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Mr. Kirby. Next, we have our county attorney, Kim Sorrells.
No updates today.
Okay. Great. Thanks so much, Kim. We will adjourn our hearing in 15 minutes at 5 after 10. We'll start with our briefings on the 5th floor. Thanks, everyone. Take care.